Welcome back, family. How are you this great Thursday evening? How are you, brown girl Maria?
I'm good. I'm good. How are you doing tonight, Trini?
I'm doing pretty good. Can't complain. We got some interesting topics to talk about. Well, not topics, but a topic.
Oh, you know it's gonna end up being topics in the end, all right? Like that's
Yeah,
how we roll.
because we're going to refer to something, always.
It, it it's a flow. It's a flow wherever it goes, right?
Right.
That's the
So
good thing.
tonight is about, can you reboot your thought pattern?
Can we reboot our thought pattern? I think we can. Good evening, Mr. Jones.
Good
Welcome. Good to have
evening.
you here.
Yeah, so you think we can? Okay, so I'm
Oh
gonna
yeah.
give you this scenario because I gotta break it down for y'all, right? Gotta break it down. We gotta get
Always.
deep. Okay, so consider a pond so quiet that there isn't a wave in sight. The pond seems quiet, but when you throw a rock at it, it ripples through the water. You can see the splash of the rock causes the ripples that develops into waves, disrupting the pond's calmness until the influence of the splash totally fades. So we're going to change that and refer that to the mind. So consider your mind. The mind, like the pond, is quiet and motionless in its natural form. But when you start thinking in a specific way, a succession of ideas generate in a ripple effect and continue to occupy the mind and continue to occupy the mind until it is still, that is, until you achieve control over your thinking pattern.
Mm. So, in this analogy, the ripples are the way that my mind keeps thinking until I get control of that thinking. And now it's calm again.
Right.
And the rock that's being thrown in is whatever's disrupting the calmness. So when your peace gets disturbed, it gets your mind going in like 101 directions.
That's right.
And you need to bring it back down. The timing, I will say, Trini, you and I are on this wavelength where we don't even talk. We don't even communicate.
I swear we don't. We too busy.
I swear to God, you know me so well. I swear that is exactly what happened this week. I was having those moments where there was a rock and a ripple, and I was trying to figure out, where do I get back to my calm?
Okay.
So let's see. I'm wondering if I did it the right way. So I'm going to hear from you. What's the process?
Okay, let's see. Well, here is a question you can ask yourself. With what kind of thoughts do you feed your mind with? Think about that. What kind of thoughts am I feeding my mind with? Is it negative thoughts? Is everything that comes through my mind is negative? Or is it positive? And if it is negative, what I'm doing about it? Or not, for that matter. So let's go to the beginning. How do we form our thinking patterns? A thought pattern does not imply that you have the same ideas every day. Rather, it indicates that you think with the same mindset. And your thoughts have the same quality as your attitude. The quality of all your particular distinct ideas is determined by the quality of your thinking pattern. Here is some background information. Every day, we roughly have 60,000 thoughts.
Some of us maybe more. That? I think, yes, I look, my thoughts start at like 4 in the morning.
Roughly. It could be more or it could be less, depending on if you know how to control it, right? If you know where your peace of mind at. But that's interesting. 60,000 thoughts. Look at that earthquake, that ripple effect that's going through your mind. Can you think if those thoughts were controlling you? They are not the same. Was you about to say something?
Okay, I got a question though, right? Because you said that our patterns are our mindsets, right? What are the different mindsets that we have with those thoughts?
What are the different mindsets?
Yeah, like what are some of those mindsets, right? If it's a pattern, then those are mindsets. Like, are they, like, what are some of those different mindsets that lead us to overthinking or thinking too much or having all those ripples and not the calm?
So think about it. If you are a person that's always in disbelief or something, let's say you just was, oh no, that person not right. Oh no, I don't believe that person. Oh no, this. But you got a standoffish type of attitude. Your mindset, you're standoffish. But yet, your thought pattern is coming out in your actions because you don't believe nothing. So what your thoughts are saying, oh, don't believe that. That's crazy. If you have those type of thoughts, that's one mindset, right? Limited beliefs. Let's go with the super ego.
Is limited beliefs the same as doubt? Because that's what it sounded like. Like disbelief, the way you described to me, was like, oh, you doubt the possibility of things, you doubt the capability of people, you doubt that, that others will follow through, but there's a doubt in everything. So is that what limited belief is?
Limited beliefs is more than doubt. Limited beliefs, I think we went through this, but limited beliefs starts with, again, your childhood, your upbringing, what you was raised to believe, your experience that happened that now you feel like this is going to always happen, even to someone else. Those are limited beliefs. All of a sudden, at first, I wouldn't mind getting on roller coasters and riding around and with the excitement. But then I had the experience of being stuck on one. So now I believe I'm going to be stuck on every roller coaster that I get on now. So now I have this limited beliefs, which stop me from riding roller coasters, which I supposedly like. But now that I have this limited belief that if I get on it, it's going to freeze on me.
All right.
Before you said that, what was I saying?
You were.
I mean, see, that's why y'all just don't know. That's why I keep my stuff written down and in front of me because I know I'm gonna lose my spot. But it was a thought that I was about to say, but I'm gonna continue where I left off at. So every day we have 60,000 thoughts. They are not the same, but the quality is, and it is a direct effect of our regular thinking. The same way your physical matter is created, the same way your physical pattern is created through habits, so is your thoughts. Think about it. If you keep having the same thought, all of a sudden something happened, now you're having the same negative thought. Same negative thought over and over and over and over and over again. And then all of a sudden you start to believe this thought. This thought has now changed your mindset to believe something not true and in the negative space.
So is that like a self-fulfilling prophecy?
I would like to say it has something to do with escapism. We're going to get into it. But why would you think it's a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Because it's like you've put that out in the world, and because you've constantly been negative and you've constantly created this pattern that's repeated over and over again, that is what you now believe to be true. Once you believe something to be true, that is kind of what ends up happening, right? Like you fulfill that prophecy that you've put forth. Like you've self-fulfilled the prophecy.
I wouldn't say it's a self-fulfilling prophecy, because it's something that just changed your mind. Your thoughts can change your mind. I wouldn't say it was self-fulfilling. Things could happen, consequences, depending on what you did with your thoughts, you know. But as far as a self-fulfilling prophecy, because when you say that, it sounds kind of selfish. But selfish in what sense? To yourself? Because that's the only damaging thing you're doing. You're doing it to your own mentality, your own mind.
Right. Although you're doing it to your own mind, but sometimes like someone will say things that are to you that is a limited belief, and that might still come, like it comes to be. Like say you're in a relationship and someone's like, you're going to cheat on me, you're going to cheat on me, you're going to cheat on me, right? You put it out there so much, I'm going to cheat on you. Like that's it. Like it happens because that energy is out there, that like, so I guess, I don't know, that's what I had always thought. Maybe I'm wrong.
Well, can someone control your thoughts?
I don't think someone can control your thoughts, but I think you can allow them to have influence over your thoughts. But you
can
have
be
the power
manipulated.
to allow, but you still allow that manipulation.
Right. You still have the free will over your thoughts.
Right.
Right.
If you have the knowledge of that free will.
That's true. That is true. You're bringing up some good points. So, when you repeat a specific course of action for a long enough period of time, which we normally say 21 days create a habit, right? But let's say we went 30, 60 days. Now you really in the habit of your habit that you created, right? That's how your thought pattern is created. The same way. Similar to what you said. If you keep saying it, you keep saying it, you keep saying it, you're going to manifest it. It's going to be created, right? So, would you consider that a self-fulfilling prophecy?
Yeah.
You know, I got to bring around 360.
But you can shift, that is the whole thing, right?
Yeah,
like you can shift your thinking.
Yeah. You can. You can control it. I mean, it's not easy. There are some things you got to do, and we're going to get to it.
Right. And you have to believe that you can control it. So like I would say, for an example, today I was in a meeting with someone and I was like, it was all going wrong. Everything was wrong, right? And I was like, oh man, you know, I'm texting my friend. I'm like, this is not going to be good, right? And he was like, we were in agreement, and then he's like, no, I'm going to say it's going to be good because I'm not going to put that energy out there. And it shifted my thinking because I was like, oh yeah, you're right. No, it's going to be good. It's going to be good. Like it's going to be a good meeting, and I'm going to put that out in the energy. But like it shifted my thinking. So someone else's shift allowed me to shift, right?
Right.
But that belief allowed me to enter the space with this positivity of being like, no, it's going to be good, right?
Right.
When you start with that negative thinking, and this goes back to what you were saying, is that your actions, it's subconscious, right? It's your subconscious having that negative thinking. So whether or not you're actively thinking that negatively, after you've said it so many times, now your actions are moving in the way of that negativity.
Mm-hmm.
So you have fulfilled that prophecy to some extent, right? If we were to say that, right?
That's right. That's right. Okay, so when you start thinking in a particular manner, say negative, then practice it for a long enough period of time, it becomes a pattern, as we said earlier. How the difference between your physical and thinking pattern is when you are conscious of everything you do, it is far more difficult to gain control of your thinking pattern. Because what if you're not conscious of it? As you mentioned earlier, what if you don't know? Yeah, we got free will, but what if you don't know? Yeah, right. What if it's beneath the subconscious, deep down? You just don't know. It ain't in our conscious yet.
But that's where it comes back to being self-aware and knowing
Ooh.
ourselves. Look, our themes are always going to come up. So if you're new to our show, we're going to talk about self-awareness. We're going to talk about limited beliefs. This is the stuff that keeps coming up with spiritual healing.
That's
and
right.
If you're not new, you know where we go.
That's right. That's right. So thoughts are clever. Thoughts are real clever. They sneaky. They come up on you. They creepy. Thoughts are clever as hell, y'all. Y'all better catch them. They want to hold your attention because they are weak without it. I'm going to say that again. Your thoughts want to hold your attention because it is weak without it. You give that thought power. Okay? You may notice that a single idea or thought may take you to escapism. So far away from the present moment that you find yourself daydreaming rather than being conscious of your presence for hours on end. The more you pay attention to your thoughts, the stronger they get until you lose all control over how you think. Are you thinking for yourself? Or is your thoughts thinking for you?
That's powerful and so real. It's so real because I think we allow our thoughts to take us to places that aren't reality.
Right.
And I have had this issue for a long time, and I've been working on it for a long time, recently for a while now. But like, it's true, like you have to bring yourself back to the present. And sometimes that's like literally physically, like I'll be like, and I think we were talking about this recently, right, Trini? Like I'll be like, where are my feet? Like, what can I feel? What can I smell? Like literally bring myself back.
In my hair?
Right. Like,
is this reality?
Look, I got some bracelets I wear all the time. And sometimes when I'm starting to lose that reality and I'm going into the escapism and my thoughts are taking over, I will hold my bracelets and remind myself to stay grounded.
You know, if you hold it, do you make noise?
I do. I move them like it's texture, right? Like
that frequency, because every sound has a frequency. That frequency is what calms you. Oh. You need to figure out what frequency that is. We can figure that out together. Holler at me after. Okay, so you brought up some good points. Now, I'm gonna give y'all 2 steps. I mean, there's more ways, but these are ways that I know. So I'm gonna give you 2 steps on how you can gain control of your thoughts. So first, almost like becoming aware of yourself, we got to find the root of the thought process. We got to go back to the beginning. We got to dig in them trenches. Time to go in there. Time to dig. Okay? So your thought pattern is set to center around something firmly imprinted in your mind. Your ideas do not arrive randomly without a sequence or order. They are structured to reflect your underlying beliefs. To be able to regulate your thought pattern, you must travel all the way back to the source of that pattern. But how we do that? There's ways. I'm going to show you. Or I'm going to tell you. So, your second step, you're going to learn what caused such ideas. Why the hell is what is making me think like this? I do not like the way I'm thinking right now. Okay? So we got to figure that out. Most negative thought patterns are tied to an issue that is not obvious on the surface. Like you said, we must be aware of this thought pattern. Why are we thinking like this? Where it came from? Time to go to the root of it. So, in order to break a negative thinking habit, you have to identify the source of the problem. If you keep experiencing negative thoughts and bad energy in your life, then it's time to become a detective of your thoughts and dig deep, baby. Okay? It's time for you to become like, what's his name? Sherlock Holmes. It's time for you to detect your thoughts. Okay? Maybe something happened in the past that you can't let go to move on, or you haven't forgiven yourself for something you did wrong or missed an opportunity that you wish you didn't miss. So all those emotions is something else that happens with our thinking. So let's get into the emotional thinking. Any thoughts on that before I dive in?
No, I think that's really good. Like, and I was just thinking that getting to the root is the key of everything, though, right? We talked about that with escapism. I think we talked about that when it came to self-awareness, and then the recent one we did, what was that on again? I can't remember our last session.
The ego, all that.
The ego, all of it. But like, and it's about asking the questions, right? So it's like, to get to the root of anything, you got to keep asking questions.
That's
and
right.
The questions to get to the why. Why is it I feel this? So if it's fear, then, well, why am I fearful? And, if it's like, well, I'm fearful of this, well, why am I fearful of this? Right? Like, you just keep unwrapping this gift of yourself. But I have to say, and I think it's so important, is that it's not easy and it's not comfortable. You have to be ready to be uncomfortable, because you are going to unwrap things of either pains that you didn't think about or like haven't considered, or you're going to unwrap things about yourself that you're like, oh shit, I do that.
Exactly. I got a question. Why we don't communicate with ourselves? Communication is key. Because if we communicate, we would ask ourselves more questions. We would learn more about ourselves. We would get to learn and know more what's interesting about us. Instead of somebody asking you, what is your best 5 qualities? You should be able to be like this. Bam, 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 bam. Instead of, well, I like my smile. I think that's a good quality. We got you, all of that.
So wait, your question was, why don't we communicate with ourselves enough? I think it's because we don't love ourselves and trust ourselves enough.
Agree.
We trust everybody else to communicate with us about who we are, and not ourselves to communicate with us about who we are.
That's right. And that dynamic need to change, because you got to come first. Right?
And you know yourself better than anybody, right? So you're going to see those positives that someone else might not see. And when you see them yourself, when other people don't see them, you still know they're present. And so
that's right.
You don't get knocked down the same way. You don't get caught in the negative thinking, because you're able to shift your mindset to say, no, I know myself. Like, I got this. I got this. I know this information, or I'm smart enough, or I'm capable of these things, right?
Right. Of course. That all goes back to the root.
It's the root. But to get there is messy. That's all, right? To get there is a little messy, but it's important to get there.
It's definitely messy. So, before I go on to the emotional thinking, You know what? About 2 weeks ago, we did some root work, a root workshop.
We did.
You know, and I know y'all waiting for the sacral. It's coming, and it is on fire. But until then, I will have another root coming up soon. So check out what it is. Welcome back. Okay.
So, Trini, that was about your workshop, and I'm curious to know a little bit more about your workshop. Like, what does it entail? What would we get if we come? Because I did come and it was pretty cool, but I think people want to know a little bit more.
Won't you give them a testimony of what you did?
I will. So I will. Actually, what I loved about the workshop, because this was the first one this year, but the second one in total, right?
Second one, yeah.
Second one in total. But we focused on the root chakra. But what I really like about the way that Trini develops this time with you is that she gave us a whole rundown and understanding of what the root chakra was. And as we did like yoga movements, she connected them back to the purpose of that. And for me, so I've got some health issues, like some things I've dealt with in the last few years that I'm always trying to, address when they come up. And I'm looking to do the most holistic ways of addressing them. And what I like is that Trini offers a lot of these holistic, natural ways to move your body in yoga positions that help support your root chakra and your health at the same time. Mm-hmm. So it's spiritual, it's physical, and it's mental all at the same time. And expect to work. Yes.
Yeah, I'm making you do it.
Yes. Baby. Expect to work.
I'm making you do it.
Thank you,
I do include recipes with essential oils. I do send out, by the way, did you receive your essential oil packet?
I did not yet, but I think it's on its way.
It's in this email. Yeah, check it out. Okay. You'll be pleased to see. So, thank you for that testimony. You guys got to come and check it out. You'll enjoy it and you will love it and it'll be very beneficial.
So are we working on our sacral chakra next, given that that's the next chakra up, right?
That's the next one up. We'll be doing that within a month.
Oh, I love
it. But before I do that, I'm going to do one more root so that everybody can come. And those that already attended can come back.
Well, definitely, everybody, you got to go check it out. So once we get that information up, I know it's going to go up on the website. It'll be on our links, and it'll definitely be on this YouTube page.
Definitely. So let's get into emotional thinking.
Emotional thinking. I've been thinking about this one a lot this week. Okay, go for it. I'm curious to know.
So I know you heard the saying, life is 10% of what happens to you and 90% of how you react to it. Mm-hmm. How many times has an unimportant event wrecked your day? You waited for an hour in a long line and suddenly your day goes from good to bad. Why do we allow things that does not matter in a few moments to reign on our entire day?
Because we don't have control over our mindsets.
Oh, okay. I see you warming up. I see you. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with feeling good or bad when something happens. But let me ask you a few questions. And don't become like Savage 21. And y'all know, for those rap heads, what I mean when I'm about to start asking these questions. How many times have you uttered something in rage that you wish you could take back? How many times have you allowed fear to keep you from taking risks that may have changed your life for the better? Consider how much easier it would be if we could control our reactions rather than allowing emotions to take over us. Strong, right?
Yeah, I would say, and how many times have we done things impulsively because of our emotions that then lead us to damage relationships or hurt others or hurt ourselves?
Yes, that's that impulsiveness. That's another thing we got to keep under control, because it's like, dang, I did that. Oh, why did I do that?
But it's definitely driven by emotions, right? That's emotional
is.
thinking right there when you're impulsive.
It is, yes. So emotions are quite strong. Would you agree? Of course.
Yeah.
So nobody can dispute that emotions play an important role in our lives. If you ignore your emotions, they will get worse over time. When we allow emotions to interfere with our rational thinking, we lose the entire control over our reactions to any social circumstances. For example, y'all know I love my examples. If you became passionate about something and overreacted, and when I say passionate, I mean angry. That's a nice word for angry. But when you become passionate about something and overreacted in a specific way, and then remark, I lost my mind there for a minute, but you really didn't. What you lost was your awareness. And that is what allows us to govern our emotional reactions. What you said earlier, always go back to that self-awareness. Always.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because if you know that if I go down there, they gonna be like this, and that's gonna get me to do that. So I'm gonna not go down there so I can keep my sanity. So some ways to reboot your thinking pattern. Let's get into that. When the chances of anything happening in a good or terrible way are 50-50, you worry. Always chooses the negative likelihood and will try to convince you that things will go wrong for you. Notice I said you will try to convince you that things will go wrong for you. You will never get there. You aren't good enough. You will be a failure for the rest of your life. Before it get out of hand, you need to grab those thoughts. You need to change those thoughts. Changing the thought to positive before it gets out of hand, because that is the voice of anxiety that plants negative thoughts in your head. So you're getting anxious. You got all this anxiety. So now your negative thought went from she didn't bring all my change back, so she must have stole the rest of my money. She went to the store and she bought all this stuff for herself and spent my money. She taking all this time. She must have went and ate Two, with my money. You see how all that I done came up with from one thought. I'm going deep into that hole, digging that hole deep.
So your negative thoughts are filled with your assumptions, and like you're creating a reality that isn't really real in your mind, right?
From
because
your
you're filling
anxiety.
it, your
Your
anxiety.
And remember, it's always in the situations that's 50-50, meaning you don't have the certain result of what's the outcome. There's go again with that uncertainty. Uncertainty comes with anxiety. Anxiety comes with negative thoughts. Negative thoughts makes you continue down this rabbit hole. So, with those negative thoughts I just told you, all those was wrong. The girl came back, gave you your correct change. Matter of fact, she gave you all your money back. And she said, I bought lunch for you. Lunch is on me. Now, you was negative for no damn reason. That's why we got to control our thoughts. That is why we have to learn how to change our thought pattern. If we catch ourselves becoming negative, if we catch ourselves having negative energy always around us, you got to start questioning. Okay, why I'm thinking like this? Okay. Who is around me when I'm thinking like this? Okay. What are they doing to make me think like this? You got to start asking yourself these questions, especially if it's not in a good light.
Right. Well, and I think the other piece, though, is that you have to slow down. So part of the reason we react right away is like, it's really your brain. It's neuroscience, right? Like it's your brain. It's the fact that emotions are that cortisol flooding. They're the, like your amygdala hijacked, right? That's your high sense of emotions. And to bring your emotions down, you have to detach yourself from the emotions. And one of the ways to do that is to slow down and take a space, make some space to detach yourself from that emotion, right? So like this week I could have, and I've had some moments where I wanted to react impulsively with my emotions. And one of the ways that I was able to get control, like that self-awareness, that self-control, right? Like I know that about myself. One, I had to know that about myself, that I'm impulsive with my emotions, right?
Right.
So I identified that. But the next thing I think is that I didn't respond or react to this incident for several days. I sat with it before I did anything or said anything, right? Like for many days. And that distance from that strong emotion to like once you take some time, what you've done is you've dissipated like the emotional velocity, right? Like now it's like, okay, so yeah, the emotion's there, right? But it's not like up here. It's like down here. Like it's present. Mm-hmm. I see it, but I can speak to it without being in it. And that's a difference, right? Right. And then you're able to have like a conversation with someone where you explain that emotion and you allow for the emotion to be validated. But it doesn't drive the conversation.
There you go. Right. I like what you think it.
but that takes, that takes thinking.
It takes practice. That's why I said you have to get in the habit of checking your thoughts. You have to get in the habit of noticing when your thoughts are negative. You got to get in the habit of speaking positive. You got to get in the habit of thinking positive. So if the thought is, you ain't going to never make it, man, shut the hell up. Yes, I am. I got this. You need to switch that around. Then all of a sudden, that thought ain't going to come because you keep checking it out.
Is that kind of like the power of affirmations? It's the habit of saying positive things?
Yes. The power of affirmations. Yes, it is. It helps change your thought patterns because the more you speak that into your own existence, you believe, you think, and that's just going to be how you live. You want it, brown girl.
I got a good teacher. I got a good teacher.
So, when you find yourself getting anxious about anything, take the time out for yourself. Go to a quiet room. Listen to some smooth sounds, music. Sing a soft song, something that uplifts you. Meditate. Dance to yourself. Do whatever it takes to make you feel good at that moment. Because that is going to offer you a way to gain calmness and peace so that you can stop thinking about that negativity. Okay? So remember that the ripples appear when you throw the rocks in the pond. When you stop tossing pebbles, the ripples will fade and the pond will return to its natural condition of stillness. In other words, when you stop thinking negatively, you will finally be at peace. But you might be asking yourself, how can you possibly stop thinking when your thoughts are overwhelming and keep coming? How? How do I do this? How? By becoming mindful. Simple. It's simple, but you got to put the work in. You got to do the action and you got to want it. You got to want to change how you think.
Oh, yeah, that's a big one.
Some people is comfortable with being angry.
Mindful moments, the Ranters Union. Yeah, definitely, right?
Yes, of course.
And you know what? That's a good point. Some people are comfortable being angry.
Some people are comfortable with being negative.
Or being the victim. Or, right? Like, some people are not willing to make those changes.
And those are the ones you need to go, boop. Yes. We ain't got no energy to waste, right? So, in becoming mindful, mindfulness helps you to separate from your thoughts and emotions and see them as that float by. Mindfulness enables you to achieve a high degree of awareness, allowing you to become an observer of your thoughts and emotions and develop control over your reactions. So guess what? You have control over which ideas / thoughts and emotions receive or is worthy of your attention. If you keep feeding the thought, it's going to keep getting bigger.
So let me ask you though, Trini, do you have some strategies to be able to get control of those thoughts?
Of course. You know I'm not going to leave you empty-handed like that. So, one true way, come to Yomi. I'll get you in a nice mindful state. But meditation. Practice meditating. There's different ways of meditating. The goal of mindfulness is to achieve control over one's thoughts, right? So instead of following your thought on a never-ending path, you see them as an outsider. You not welcome in my mind. What's wrong with you? That thought. Who think like that? I'm not thinking like that. Don't be, you got to communicate with yourself.
But that's a great moment when you're able to take a thought that you have and dismiss it and be like, oh, no, I'm not going there. Like, it's a powerful thing to have that control. Can I offer one more? Because I think that for me personally, this has helped. And I don't know if it might help some people in our audience, is writing it. I think for me, when you take an emotion and you write it down, what you've done is you've taken it from your body and your mind and you've released it in another place, and it detaches you in that emotional place. Now you're looking at it, you still have it, but you're not feeling it. It's on the paper. So that's a strategy for those of you who maybe aren't right at that place, to step to Yomi just yet, right? Like, that's your process.
And not to cut you off, but after you write all that down, because this is a negative thought you're trying to get rid of, burn that paper up. Light it on fire, because that also is your mind seeing it poof, be gone.
Oh, that's another layer I did not know.
Mm-hmm. I told y'all this before. I've told you this before.
I might have a bonfire in the making.
Oh, yeah, a lot of stuff.
I got a couple of journals.
About 100 composition books. I will have my marshmallows. Let me know when you're ready.
We'll be roasting some s'mores with this. Negativity s'mores. All right, so
that is funny. I'm not messing with you, Maria. So mindfulness enables you to develop a new thought pattern, one in which your own conscious is the major actor. So doing things of what I've mentioned earlier and using Maria technique with the lighter will definitely help you check your thoughts. Being attentive allows you to become entirely aware of your thought pattern, and that allows you to detect your thought quality. Because if you got some evil ass thoughts in your mind, you need to be like, why the hell I'm thinking like that? What's going on in my head?
Does that goes back to mindset, right? So now I can identify the mindset that I have.
That's right. So in other words, you can slice and dice a bad thought before it becomes a habit. You may disregard such harmful ideas and designate them as unneeded, and instead focus on something wonderful. After a few repetitions of this, you will understand how to overcome the negative thought, habit, and to have a peaceful and happier way of living. We got to do work, y'all. We got to practice on it. That's the worst, not the worst part, but that's the hardest part, because when you start recognizing why you thinking a certain way, it might not be a pretty outlook. You might hurt your own feelings, but you have to recognize it. And if you don't like it, you need to change it.
And you do have to practice it, because just like everything, like when you teach a kid something and you teach them like the strategy, but then in the moment they forget the strategy, right? Because when you're in your emotions, when you're in the moment, that's when it's really hard to draw upon a strategy or like a tool. So you have to practice it, because when the harder times come, that's when you have to draw on it, right? Like, and if you practice it with the small stuff, right? Like practice it with the moments that like you're at the DMV and waiting for hours and hours, right? Like, but like I had this moment, I've had to walk my kids through it, right? Like, you know, this moment, like where like you have to teach someone else sometimes mindfulness helps you to also have that mindfulness, right? And then once you've done it in those small micro moments where it's like small stuff, when it's big things like in relationships, or it's your dynamics with your children, or like whatever it is, right?
Right.
You already know how to draw on that tool and that strategy so that it's easier to come to. But I think that's really important in life, because oftentimes we just think like, oh, I got it and that's it. But you have to practice.
You have to practice. And guess what? Sometimes practicing brings you from pain to power. What you got for us coming up this week, girl?
Girl, I loved that transition. That was stellar. I got someone good who's really interesting. It's a woman who is taking pain to power and is leading with love, with personal training, spiritual training, and physical training to get your minds right for all the women out there who are in those same spaces. So check them out check a little bit out of what my show is. My world has slowly crumbled around me countless times, and every time I rebuild with the pieces I've been given to birth something so transformational and beautiful that no one else knew might exist before it was shown to them. These moments tend to coincide within my romantic path. The universe has been telling me to focus on the revolution and not romance. It has over time given me the tools, resilience, and light to turn my pain into power. And only now do I see that the key to this always resided in the love and knowing I had in myself, not from the external sources of family or men. The message I have been avoiding might be that my time in this world I had existed in was not to receive love, but to put it out there for others to see, feel, and heal through. Revolution before romance moves pain into power. So yeah, Pain to Power is showing on Sunday, this Sunday, March 27th. And I have Ari, who is Life with Ari on Instagram and TikTok. And she is a woman who is taking pain and turning into power and leading with love by helping other women find their voice and their physical health. So she's like a trainer and all that good stuff. But she's got a great story. So come and tune in on Brown Girl Interrupting on YouTube. And go check out my blog post for another new blog post that I posted. It's not, well, it's new. It's newish. But
It's a recap.
It's a recap. I'm no superwoman. So, yes, go to www.browngirlinterrupting.com and read about my mindset shift that has helped me to grow and heal. Ooh. So it's connected. It's all connected. Look, I know how to pull it all back together. Okay. So let's talk about those mindset shifts that we are going through all together, right?
Right. So, speaking of mindset, what is your way of becoming mindful?
So I got a couple. I will say meditation. And you know this, Trini, from me, is when I met Trini and she said meditate, I was like, so you know what? I've tried this situation. Like I've tried this whole meditation thing. I was like, nah, I don't, it doesn't work for me. It doesn't work for me, right? Like and
rebelling, y'all.
I was. I'm an interrupter. That's what I do, right? But what was really powerful, I think, and this is Trini, where maybe you can shed some light on it, is like your advice of what I do when I meditate was powerful to transform my mindset on meditation allow me to use it as a tool.
Right. So she was like, meditate. I have a hard time trying to meditate. Some people, if you never meditate, when you try, you're going to fail. Because people have a misconception of meditation. They think you're not supposed to think. Yes, you want some peace. But if you can't meditate and have no peace, then you have to meditate on what's coming in your head. How we do that? So if you're in a loving sound room, smelling good, you got just all your senses heightened, and thoughts come through your head. If they're negative, what you do is address it. Mm-hmm. Put truth to it, turn it into a positive, and then dismiss it. Every time it comes. Something like what we said. Turn it into a habit of kicking the negative thought ass. Do not be scared to cuss it out.
That's true, right? And it's so empowering when you can take a negative thought and be like, nah, you don't have no space here. Like that's my energy taken to think about that negativity. I'm not doing it. I'm not doing it.
Right. We don't.
And
we
some
don't got
days are
time
easier than others.
Right. Definitely. We don't got time to waste it. And like you said, affirmations work for you.
Yeah.
So, and if y'all can find a good affirmation, let it work for you. If you need one, I'll write one for you. A nice personal, not lies one.
Oh.
Just for you.
And you know what? You guys need to go and get some affirmations from Trini. I use mine and I say it. I say it when I meditate. I say it before I meditate. I say it as I'm meditating sometimes. And my daughter says it with me sometimes because it's so powerful in just grounding you and reminding you of your power, reminding you of your ability to change your mindset. Like, it's huge. Affirmations are huge. And I have a lot that I say regularly. I would say the other thing is that talking to myself in the mirror.
Yes.
But it truly helps my mindset because literally I'm like, Maria, like,
Yes.
nah, that's not how you're thinking today, right? Like, I'm having a conversation with myself, and it truly does help me. And I do it. I do it. That's the truth. I know.
I used to be quick tempered, very impulsive, but quick tempered, and then let me digest. Why are you acting like this today? What the hell is wrong with you? Like, you gotta communicate. You don't have to just communicate with others, but you have to communicate with yourself too. The inside of your body communicates with you. Don't it tell you when something hurt? Don't it tell you when something wrong? Don't it tell you when to feel sad? Don't it tell you when to be happy? So why you can't meditate on making your thoughts better?
Is that the main strategy you use? Do you use other ways of being able to shift your mindset and like control your thoughts?
Being authentic with myself. Because you have to be honest with yourself. That is key. Because if you're going to lie to yourself, your thoughts going to lie to you too.
Yeah.
You see the quality in that? Then you become a liar. Because that's a pattern your mind created.
That's the pattern of escapism or perception over reality, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. So, in closing, we'll leave with this. As you all may know, your mind is a terrible thing to waste. But when you fill it with positive thoughts, your life will begin to change. Practice is what, Maria?
Practice makes better.
That's right. We got to practice on becoming better.
Because we're bettering our minds and
That's
right.
Our
thoughts.
That's right, all the time. So don't forget Sunday, Maria show, Brown Girl Interrupting with Pain to Power, Leading with Love, 9 p.m. Check her out. And don't forget to check us out next week. Same bat time, same bat channel, Thursdays, 9 p.m.
Peace and love, friends.
Peace and love.